Today on Politically Insane, I want to discuss why I believe that we should be canceling and banning TikTok, why it should be removed from our society. I think our society is dumber, and we'll get into that, as well as, of course, talking about the Russia Ukraine tensions, as it is bringing a lot of us in the Western civilization into it. And there's going to be a lot on that. Of course, the Democrats agree that the Ukrainian border is more important than our own. We will talk about that and quite a bit on that, as well as Swalwell and how Eric Swalwell believes that Russian students should be kicked out of America, and so much more on that. This and so much more today on Politically Insane. I want to thank you all for joining us one more time for another episode. But before we get into it, let's go ahead and mention our sponsor, which is We the People Holsters. Of course, for those who listen to the show quite often, you know that We the People Holsters is one of my favorites. We the People Holsters really does have a lot of very cool products, a lot of things that you can go and support them, and you can go check it out. Go click the link in the description to go over to We the People Holsters, and you can check them out and use code INSANE for 15% off. But you can go over there. They have holsters, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, tumblers. And one of the things that I want to mention is that they have a very cool belt that you can go check out. If you carry, then I think you should check out their belt. Their belt is absolutely worth checking out. It's a very stiff belt, a belt that doesn't sag when you're carrying. So if you're someone who carries and you're looking for a new belt that is going to be very durable and stiff, not kind of sagging your pants down as you're trying to carry your gun, then I encourage you to go check out their belt. They really do have a very cool belt, very cool design. It's very efficient. I absolutely recommend it. But their holster as well. Their holsters are very cool. They have all kinds of different designs. They are a Kydex hard plastic material, but these Kydex holsters, they're made and they're fit to your gun. So whatever gun you have, you select it, and it's molded to your gun type. So your gun actually clicks in, unlike any other holster on the market. It really is a very good holster. I wouldn't have them as my advertisement if I didn't believe in their products. Go check them out. You can click on the link in the description, go to wethepeopleholsters.com and use the code INSANE for 15% off your order today. Now, of course, what I believe is that we should be canceling TikTok. TikTok is something that has gone on and it's been huge. It's an app that has just completely taken the world by storm, and we'll kind of get into its popularity here in just a moment. But just kind of in recent news and some of the things that TikTok has done to kind of have a partnership in America, we can see that the NHL has now mentioned a partnership with TikTok. And back on February 23rd, the NHL made the following announcement. They said on their own website, they said today the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association and TikTok announced a new partnership to deliver original content and unique experiences to TikTok's global community. The partnership will come to life in several ways, including in ice branding and the introduction of TikTok tailgate stage at two upcoming marquee outdoor NHL events, which actually just happened this past weekend. And it mentions that the 2022 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series on February 26th in Nashville, Tennessee, and the 2022 Tim Hortons NHL Heritage Classic on March 13th in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, featuring performances by some of the TikTok community's favorite artists. So they plan to have this huge deal with TikTok and give them all kinds of endorsements and sponsors and have their branding all over. So basically advertising TikTok. So helping TikTok grow even more than they have. And for those who don't know what TikTok is, it is a video service that's a very short videos. I believe now they're starting to have longer videos as well, but for the most part, they're these short videos. And it draws you in and gets you very hooked on these videos because they're just very short clips. They keep your attention. And you move on to the next and you move on to the next. And there are people that make money on TikTok and they become very popular on TikTok. And it even kind of fluffs their numbers quite a bit because if somebody just flips through and flips past their video, it still counts that as a view. So people become very popular on TikTok because of their high counts and views, even though their views aren't necessarily a full view. For example, if I were to get a view or even just a listen on a podcast platform, you would have to listen to my podcast for so long before it counts as an actual listen or an actual download, or even on YouTube or Rumble, things like this. You would have to watch for so long in order for it to count as an actual view. So you couldn't really just fluff my my overall views or listens just by simply listening to a short piece. Or even if you, as one simple listener, were to listen on one device multiple times, it still wouldn't count that on many services such as Apple Podcast or Spotify, or even YouTube. If you have one account, it won't count that view multiple times for that one account watching my videos several times. This is something that kind of keeps people from just being able to get an really an sort of fame from numbers that really don't matter. If someone clicks on your video and watches it for 15 seconds and realizes this isn't for me, they back out of it. Of course, TikTok is a full maybe 15 to 30-second video, so it's not very long. But people still will simply scroll past this video, or maybe see this video several times, and it'll rack up these numbers in a way that is giving these people a lot of fame and getting even more views to their videos that they're posting. And a lot of these videos are just very nonsensical and very repetitive. They have very really using the same audio and just doing different challenges and things like that. And we'll kind of get into a little bit more about these challenges and how it really makes us very stupid, and it's very dangerous in many ways. But what we do know about TikTok is that TikTok took the world by storm with over 2 billion, billion with a B as in boy, over 2 billion downloads since its launch. Now, it's been out for about 2 to 3 years now. I guess just over 3 years now. It's 2022, maybe just about 3 years. I know it came out in 2019, but it's got over 2 billion downloads. That's a lot of downloads for a single app. And there are so many things about TikTok. Again, the addiction that you get from it, and the fact that you can spend so much time on it, because people don't normally want to sit down for 35 minutes to 45 minutes, or even if you tune into our late night show for maybe an hour, to sit down and watch one video. But they will spend several hours watching multiple 30-second videos or maybe a minute video. They will sit there and waste so much time by watching these little videos that are simply just stupid and very annoying and very repetitive, but it's a very addictive app. The creators of TikTok absolutely are very, very smart in their tactics, because it has, of course, looking at their 2 billion plus downloads, they're very smart in their tactics. Of course, someone like myself finds it very annoying when I hear others watching videos and I hear the same tunes playing over and over again, and very annoying tunes, but they get stuck in your head because you can hear these from just people, if you're sitting at a restaurant, or people that you may know, or from me, in my experience, there were younger people at Thanksgiving when I went back and was visiting family. And I went back home and was visiting family, and some of the young ones there were watching these TikTok videos, and they were very repetitive. And it was just a constant tune that's just driven in your head. And I find it very annoying. And even the things that these people are doing, the horrible dances, for one, some of them are very dirty dances, and things that young people should not be seeing. And you can argue with me on that all you want. If you have any sense of morality and what young people should be seeing on the internet, TikTok is absolutely destructive to our young people, both in addiction that can keep them engaged for such long time periods watching these very nonsensical videos, but then also very dirty and just explicit videos that our young Americans should not be watching. So that right there should give us a very high indication that we should be getting rid of this application and banning this application. The Indian government, I'm talking about the country, India, they have since banned the application. They have banned it. They have gotten rid of it because it's a horrible application. They saw the things that I'm talking about, and they saw even more. The government even claimed that these applications were a threat to their Indian sovereignty and their security, as they collected and stored user data on Chinese servers accessible by Beijing. So they had proven that Beijing was able to access a lot of these users' data and their information from these people, these users who were really uploading their information into these applications. And so they had completely banned this application for the security of their own country. Now, of course, I think when you get into things like this, of course, it can become very dangerous when you talk about banning an entire application to your people. I think I can understand the worry that maybe this would lead us down a scary path, and it could absolutely lead us down those paths, and those worries are very understandable, and I can totally hear those out. But an application like this needs to be banned. It needs to be put. We need to put it aside. There were two different studies that proved that TikTok can bypass all of Apple and Google Play's privacy protections and access all of the user's data. These sources will all be included. You can go over to politicallyinsane.us and click on our sources. I will have those sources uploaded under the sources tab. But you can see our sources where there are studies that show that they are bypassing and completely getting past all of Apple and Google Play's protection, their services and their protections and all of these things that they can get past this and access all of these users, all these people who are downloading and using the application and uploading their own information. The Chinese government can now see this, and this is something that has been proven in different studies. And TikTok also faced even allegations of censoring videos, which is something that us as conservatives should be against. So with them censoring these videos, this should be another red flag to us, as especially as conservatives, really any of us as Americans. If we want free speech and freedom of just kind of expression, this freedom of expression, we shouldn't be against anything that is going to censor us, whether we are completely off the wall, as long as we're not threatening to those around us and being truthful about what threats are. There should be no censoring on our own opinions. There should be no censoring on anything that we have to get out there. The Guardian brought this subject up after the platform didn't display any Hong Kong pro democracy protests that occurred in 2019. The platform was blocking a lot of these, and there was a lot of people showing that their videos were blocked. And Donald Trump had even expressed these concerns back in 2019 when President Trump was trying to ban TikTok and get rid of it in the United States for very good causes, for very good reasons. And there was even someone that posted a video criticizing the Chinese government's treatment of the Uyghur Muslims, and since then was subsequently blocked off of the platform, off of TikTok. And the clip, which appeared as a makeup tutorial, received 1.5 million views before TikTok removed it. And this makeup tutorial was simply talking about the Uyghur Muslim genocide that was going on in China. And of course, the Chinese government sees these things and completely censors it. This is stuff that needs to be discussed and things that needs to be brought up, and TikTok is censoring it. Yet we want this in our country. We want Americans to be sucked into this disgusting app. It is absolutely just ridiculous. It is consuming so many hours of Americans' time and filtering certain things out of its platform. And it is even really destroying and making our country stupider. And we'll get a little bit more into that in just a moment. But in the case of TikTok, it's much more troubling because the vast majority of its customers are teens and young people. And according to Alex Hearn, the UK technology editor at The Guardian, teen girls on TikTok are receiving very creepy and upsetting messages from older men. And of course, this is something that's going to happen in any kind of social media. And this is something that we should be censoring in a lot of social media, things like young women having these messages from creepy old men and pedophiles. But this is something that's happening at a very large quantity in TikTok. Now, TikTok has mentioned that they have taken precautions against this, but it still happens. Now, of course, again, like I said, this is something that's going to happen in any social media, but this is just one more thing against TikTok, that it's just one more social media site that we have to try to protect our children and these teens who are getting these messages and getting very creepy people sending them these messages, people who should not be sending them anything at all, should not be even having any kind of association with them in this platform. But there are even dangerous challenges, which we could just pull out the simple fact that these challenges are just dangerous to the people who are partaking in them, and we'll kind of touch on a little bit more about that here in just a moment after mentioning what these challenges are. But one of them is a penny challenge, which involves plugging a part of a challenge, plugging part of a charger into a wall and then touching the exposed prongs with a penny. And the aim of this challenge is to create a spark, an electric shock, which, let's use common sense here, with an electric shock and a spark that can hurt the person who's holding the penny and reaching into an electrical outlet. Let's stop being stupid about these things and following these challenges. It's just idiocy, complete idiotic actions that are being done here. But it's also something that can cause any kind of electrocution and fires. So let's stop being stupid and allowing challenges like this to be flood across social media platforms such as TikTok. And TikTok is the one that is really causing a lot of these different challenges to be flooding across all social media because of TikTok. And you see these TikToks shared across things like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We see this spread across all social media platforms, and it's ridiculous and very dangerous. Another risky stunt, and that one of these challenges that's brought up is called a skull breaker challenge, which is someone jumping while two other people try to kick or rip out their legs in midair so that they fall down. Which very obviously, and again using common sense, this is just stupid. This is something that is obviously going to lead to some sort of injuries, whether it be brain damage or spinal injuries, just injuring your neck. There's just all kinds of stupidity that can come from this. And apparently, there are even reports that sometimes death comes from these challenges. But this is stuff that is still allowed on TikTok services. TikTok has made statements saying that they are going to ban things like this, that they're going to ban challenges that are very dangerous. But then we still see new challenges coming up and becoming very popular on TikTok. And of course, the stupidity is running within all of these teens who are trying these stupid challenges. And there was also a crate challenge, which many of us probably remember, I believe back in 2020, where they were stacking up these milk crates and trying to climb up and down on these, you stacking them up in a stair or a mountain shape and trying to climb over without knocking over the crates. Now, of course, it was kind of hysterical to watch people be so stupid, and that's why they became so popular and why so many people were trying to gain popularity by trying to compete in this challenge. But it's just stupid. And using common sense tells us not to do challenges like this because we are going to get hurt, especially for people who have a job, who have families to provide for. Think about this stuff before you're committing and committing yourself into to trying to commit these or to partake in these challenges. It's just stupid. Now, of course, like I'm mentioning here, a big portion of these challenges are just people being stupid and falling into this peer pressure and really this sense of trying to gain some sort of fame out of TikTok, that they're competing in these challenges. But the problem is just simply that TikTok is putting these challenges and putting people in this sense of peer pressure into trying to be cool or trying to be popular, and they're putting these challenges out there, and it's causing a lot of injuries and a lot of apparently even deaths. And it's just very stupid challenges that are being mainstream, or they're becoming mainstream because of TikTok. Now, of course, just looking at the overall idea of TikTok and what TikTok is, and just how stupid TikTok is, and how it has really just invaded our privacy and selling and really being able to be spied upon with all of these things through TikTok. This needs to be stopped. So as Americans, we need to cancel TikTok. And ultimately, I believe that TikTok is something that needs to be banned because it is something that the Chinese government is going to be able to use and see and use our data. We need to get rid of TikTok. It is stupid. It is creating a very stupid environment and a very stupid society in America. It's something that needs to be ended. Something that needs to be gotten rid of and completely banned and canceled in America. TikTok is stupid. If you own this app, please delete TikTok. It is ridiculous. And it is creating a stupider society in both people trying to partake in these challenges and compete in these challenges, or even just the sense that it is creating a stupider society that people are spending so much time on such a stupid platform that is just very, very stupid. There's no other way for me to explain it other than just the simple fact that it is dumb, it is stupid, and it is instilling that stupidity into the brains of Americans who use TikTok. So I am calling out to ban TikTok. Now let's jump into the weekly newsletter. All right, before we get into the weekly newsletter, let me remind you of our awesome merch shop, which those who want to support Politically Insane, you can go over to politicallyinsane.us/shop. We have amazing new t-shirts, hoodies, tumblers, and so much more. We have a lot of really cool things. If you're watching the video podcast on YouTube or Rumble, you can check out all of our merchandise here on the screen. We've got some here, anyways. And even the shirt that I'm wearing right now, it's a very cool shirt, very comfortable shirt. It's very thin, so if you don't like thin shirts, this one isn't the one for you. But we have this design on other shirts that are thicker and still just as comfortable. I will be wearing these very much on any of our videos, any of our live streams. It's a very comfortable shirt, very soft material. It's very got a very cool design, which was designed by yours truly, Politically Insane, in the shape of an AR. Very cool. Something that it's just it's something that you can go and look at and support Politically Insane, rep Politically Insane, and just show your support. Show your support by buying one of our t-shirts, hoodies, tumblers. We have so much more that you can check out on our merch shop. If you look at the back of this t-shirt, I'm not going to turn around on the video, but the back of that t-shirt has a very cool flag to rep on the back as well. So an American flag, something that you can show your white supremacy by wearing this t-shirt and supporting Politically Insane. But you can go to politicallyinsane.us/shop and check out all of our merchandise today. And something else that I want to mention to our listeners, to anyone who might enjoy our show, I'm getting a lot of feedback from different listeners, people that I know that listen, as well as some feedback from those who I don't know. And I appreciate your feedback, but we've gotten some feedback and that you guys are enjoying our interviews, and I as well. I enjoy these interviews. These are something that I get a lot of enjoyment out of, being able to talk to different people. We had Scott LaPierre, who was a man who wrote a Christian book. Again, I encourage you to go back and check out that interview with Scott LaPierre. That was one that I very much enjoyed. And we had one with a man who's running for governor in Ohio, Joe Blystone. But we've had a lot of feedback about these interviews that you guys have enjoyed them. And like I said, I enjoy them as well. So if you know someone that would be a good guest on the show, you know of someone, go to politicallyinsane.us/contact. You can just go to politicallyinsane.us and scroll to the bottom and click on contact us. You can send us a message and let us know of people you think would be good guests on the show. And we're looking for people that would have a good insight on both political and social issues within our society. And I would welcome both conservative and liberal minds. I think even if we get some liberal minds that would be open to a very rational and calm discussion, I would be absolutely welcome to inviting liberal ideas on the show to kind of have an open discussion about societal and political issues. So if you have any contact information on these possible guests, please make sure to include that in your message to us. But again, just if you know of someone who would be a good guest on the show and someone who would both show and offer some sort of benefit to the show and the listeners, yourself, the audience, then make sure to go over to politicallyinsane.us and click on the contact us down on the bottom of the page and send us a message. Let us know who you think might be good to have on the show for interviews and different discussions and things like that. Let's go ahead and get into our weekly newsletter. All right. So, of course, something that I'm sure many of us are hearing in the news, it's all over, it's constant in the news, is the Ukrainian Russian tensions, of course, upon the Russian and Ukrainian borders. We're seeing all kinds of tensions going on in Ukraine right now, and it is a horrible thing that we're seeing going on in Ukraine. And my thoughts and prayers go out to the Ukrainians who are dealing with this because there's a lot of violence going on. Of course, Putin said that he was going to send peacemakers in to try to instill peace in Ukraine, and of course that just turned into bombs and all kinds of aggression. It is clear that they are invading Ukraine and trying to take over at least the eastern side of Ukraine and take over a vast majority of it. And there's a lot going on there. But with all of these tensions in Ukraine, we kind of look at our own leader who has gotten us into the discussion of this Ukrainian and Russian kind of tensions here. He's gotten our name involved, and the American names are involved in all of this discussion. And where is Biden? Where's the best place for him to be in this time of war? Of course, we see that Biden is in his private estate in Delaware. We see that he's not out reassuring the American people that it's going to be okay, that they have a plan. His administration has a plan. After all, he's the one that's gotten us into all of this. But instead, he's hiding away. He's in his basement, in his private estate, making sure that he's nowhere to be seen. And Fox News even reported that the media is having a difficult time contacting the Biden administration at this time. At a time where a lot of Americans are in a panic and a lot of Americans are worried about Russia, and we'll kind of talk about all that Russia has as far as a threat on us as Americans today, and especially with all that's going on. But I want to look over at Ukraine's president, their leader, Ukraine's leader, and seeing where Volodymyr Zelensky and where he is in all of this, because we see a vast difference. We see that he has his country directly invaded. His country is directly being affected by all of this going on. And where is he? He is in Kiev, where it was under attack and under invasion by the Russian armies, their military. But that's right where he was. And he was out. He was seen. He isn't afraid to stand up for his country, and he shows this in the way that he's standing up with his military and out with his military. There were pictures and videos going viral of him with some protective gear on and stuff and things of the such. And he's out there on the streets, and he's out with the military and with his people. You don't see him hiding in his private estate and hiding from the Russian armies and the Russian militaries who are invading his country. It's a very much different sight that we see between this man who is in direct danger, and he even makes it very clear that he is the number one target. Again, all sources are at politicallyinsane.us under the sources tab, so go check it out there. But he's not afraid to stand up and to be seen. He knows that he's the number one target, but he is doing the best he can for his country right now. And instead, ours is hiding. Or even if we look at the dictator Trudeau up in Canada, we see that he hides just from a bunch of truckers going and peacefully protesting by honking their horns, and that scares him enough for him to go into hiding. A very vast difference. A vast difference in leadership that we see between the Ukrainian leaders and the leaders in our own country and our neighbors up north. Very different. So what's at stake here when we talk about all of this? I've stated my opinion. I believe in the past episode that I believe that we should not be involved in this war, and we'll kind of get into that in just a moment as well, diving in a little bit further why I believe that we shouldn't be involved in this. But Putin has been blaming the Western countries, including America. I think America has been one of the most vocal in all of this, but Putin is blaming us for I guess our aggressive statements, the United States and other Western countries in Europe, for their aggressive statements towards Russia. And Putin stated, and this is in quotations, that he says, "Therefore, I order the Minister of of Defense and the Chief of General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces to transfer the deterrence forces of the Russian army to a special mode of combat duty." And he says all of this because of the aggressive statements that he speaks of. because of these aggressive the aggression that's shown from the US and other Western European countries. He sees all of this that's going on in NATO and all that's going on around in these other Western countries west of Russia. And so because Biden is getting us involved, because Biden is making this a United States issue, which I just don't think it should be. I understand the treaties that we have, but we have our own issues, and we will get to that in just a moment. So hang with me there, but we'll get to that. But because of Biden getting us in a war that we shouldn't be involved in my opinion, and in several conservatives' opinions, Russia is flexing their nuclear power towards us. They're flexing their nuclear power in a way that is very dangerous, and it's putting all of the Western countries, including the United States, and because of the Biden administration getting us involved, it's putting us, the United States, in danger. It's putting us in danger of Russia's Russia's nuclear power. They are absolutely flexing this, and Putin is flexing this towards us because he believes that we are showing weakness. He believes that we're showing weakness. And it's very clear in some of the things that the Biden administration has done that we are showing those weaknesses. Democrats agree that the Ukrainian border is more important than our own, and they show this in many different ways, where it shows that there was a survey by the Remison reports that almost two-thirds of Democrats believe that defending distant Ukraine from the Russian invasion is more important than defending America's own border, that being the Mexican border. You know, when we think about our own communities and our own workplaces with these illegal immigrants, and I'm talking illegal immigrants who are doing illegal things in our country, not just people who are coming and migrating over to America legally, but I'm talking about people who are bringing in horrible things. We're talking about drugs, illegal guns, human trafficking. You know, we think of sex trafficking and how big that becomes down on the southern border. We'll get to that more in just a moment, but there are so many things that we see going on in our own country. So many things that we have to fight in our own country, yet almost two-thirds of the Democrats believe that we should be fighting over in Ukraine and for their border rather than fighting for our own border and trying to protect our own border and some of the evil things that are coming across our own border. Neil Munro at Breitbart News makes a very valid point, and he makes a very valid point in this article, and he talks about the difference between liberals and conservatives, and really the difference on foreign policy and really just foreign relations in general. And he wrote in this article, and again, all of these sources will be at politicallyinsane.us under the sources tab. But he says in this article, he says the survey result matches other polls showing how ideological liberals are less willing to ally with ordinary Americans with with distant foreigners. This ideological preference for telescopic charity is very different from conservatives who simultaneously sympathize with distant victims but also prioritize circles of people closer to home, first family, then relatives, neighbors, same county residents, and then fellow nationals. But this reluctance to defend their national border is tied to progressives' eagerness to immigrants to help them win political supremacy over ordinary Americans. He makes a very good point because we, as conservatives, want to protect our own home, our own families, our own society before focusing on other nations' homes and families and societies. We want to focus first here what is closest to me and what's most important to me because our country comes first. And it's much like having to save yourself before saving another. Something that if you go on a plane, you have to kind of learn this that in a plane crash, you first protect yourself, make sure you're buckled in and that you have your own mask on before trying to save someone else. Because if you're buckled in and you're safe yourself, you have a mask on to protect yourself, you're going to be able to help others much more efficiently. If you have your own country all in order, you're going to have much better success in being able to help other countries. Whereas right now in America, we have a lot of places where our country is not secure. So how can we reach out and help others? Even looking at Jesus's teaching that you must first remove the plank out of your own eye before removing the speck out of another's. This is a hyperbole that Jesus uses because what he's saying here is that it's like you have a plank in your own eye, but you're going over and you're trying to pull out a speck out of another brother's eye. It's very similar to what we see in America today with us trying to go over and save another country when our own country is under our own attack. We have an attack on our own country that we need to solve first. And really, we can focus on our own crises before going out and trying to add to it, to add to the list of crises that we see in our own country. We have to fix a lot. We have a lot to fix in our country. We have COVID. Really, when we think of our society, we have to figure out whatever side you're on, whether you're on the left or the right, we have to figure out this gay and trans community and figure out the tensions that are going on there. Whether you stand with the LGBTQ uh, community or not, whether you're with them or against them, we need to figure that out. That is becoming an issue, really both sides. That's made very clear on both sides of the argument that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. Racial tensions and even supporting the police and trying to help the police get better training, whatever the case may be, whatever side you take on these racial issues or these police issues, these are things that we need to solve in our own country. If there are racial issues and if there really is this systemic racism, we need to get to the bottom of it and figure out what this systemic racism is and how to fix it before we can move on. Or of course, if you're on the right, showing where racism really is and trying to determine what racism is. We talked about that in our last episode as well. But ultimately showing the support for police and things like this is again more things that we need to discuss and fix within our own walls before trying to reach out and to fix other countries. We need to focus on our own issues, and of course our own border being the most obvious similarity between what we're doing in Ukraine compared to what we have here in the United States. So why do we think that we can fix another border if our own is under attack? Our own border is under attack and needs to be fixed, yet we want to go over to Ukraine and help them with their own border or with their border rather than fixing our own. We do have a lot of issues on our own border. And again, whether you take the side of the left or the right, there is issues on the border because the left wants to act like we are treating the border poorly, that we're treating them poorly in the sense that we're abusing them and all of these lies that they want to spread. But regardless, the left sees an issue at the border. Maybe it's different than the issue that we see, but the right also sees an issue at the border. So there is an issue and there is something that is being attacked on our American society. And again, all of these other issues, there are so many things that we need to focus on. And JD Vance has some great thoughts to share about Ukraine. And I wanted to play the video, but for sake of time, I'm not going to play the video that shows his speech. But at CPAC, he has a very moving and compelling speech and very good arguments about this Ukrainian border crisis. And one of the great quotes that I'll point out from his speech is that he says, one of the biggest ways that the Democrats have failed the working class, have failed the citizens of this country, is that they don't even care about their citizens compared to the illegal aliens flowing across the US border, the southern border. How true is that? They don't care about their own societies, that they don't care about their own working class, their own Americans have their own issues within our own society, but rather they would rather focus on illegal aliens, people who should not be here because they're crossing over the border illegally. They don't care about law and order. And that shows in many scenarios, not even just our own border. Even if you look at BLM and Antifa riots that have gone on in our country for the past couple of years. This is a big reason why conservatives have such an urge to fix this border crisis. And especially looking at our own country before going over to the Ukrainian country and trying to fix their border because of what we mentioned back in Neil Munro's article at Breitbart. He said, and I'll reread this part of it. It says, But this reluctance to defend their, talking about conservatives' national border, is tied to progressives' eagerness to use immigrants to help them win political supremacy over ordinary Americans. This is absolutely the issue. And what conservatives take as an issue is that progressives, liberals, Democrats, they want to use illegal immigrants against their own Americans. They want to use it against legal Americans who want to take the right precautions and want to actually obey laws. There are so many things that are happening in our own country, and especially looking at our own border and seeing the threats that are happening. There are so many issues, and we talked about these. And there's and JD Vance, he speaks on an emotional connection, which is a valid one, but he has this emotional connection to the drugs that are brought into our country, and he talks about his mother and some of the things that has happened. She's been put into a coma in the past because of the drugs that she's taken, and he talks about that being an issue in our country, and that issue grows even stronger because of our southern border. Really, we think about the drug problems, the human trafficking, and the illegal weapons, and this is the reason why us as conservatives want a stronger border. We're not talking about anyone. All of these evil things happen from all different kinds of people. Evil people that use this border, this southern border, because of its weak presence of law enforcement down along the border, because there is no protection along the border. This is something that needs to be addressed in our own country. And of course, with all of this tension in Russia, it's bringing a lot of tension within our own country. With these tensions in Russia being so high, of course, it's stretching out to tensions to Russians in our own country and other Russian entities within our own country. But Eric Swalwell, the man who, let me remind you that he's a man who slept with a Chinese spy. He thinks that we should ban every Russian thing in America. Anything Russian in America needs to be completely banned. Now, I will say I don't completely disagree with Swalwell, but we'll get to that in just a moment. And on Thursday, he said, Congressman Eric Swalwell, he suggested that the United States should deport Russian college students and shutter the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C., in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So, because of this Russian invasion in Ukraine, he believes that we should completely suspend and deport all Russian students in all colleges and universities. Now, if we were to say that as conservatives, if we were to come out and propose this, you know for a fact that we would be called racist. Now, I can see where Eric Swalwell would be coming to this conclusion, because we have come to the same conclusion about different things in the past as conservatives. I think the way that he's going about it may be a little too far, might be stretching it a little too far. I don't think you would exclude all Russian students, because a lot of those Russian students are coming to America because they're trying to get away from the dictatorship that is in Russia. But again, I can see that where he's getting this conclusion. I can see where he's coming from. But even vodka, one of Russia's most iconic exports, is also being affected in the US and really on a lot of Western sanctions. But the Canadian government is stopping the sale and importation of these Russian-made products such as vodka. And in the United States, several state governments have even stopped and called for the removal of Russian vodka from all liquor stores. People are even dumping it out and trying to get rid of it and removing it from their shelves. Now, I understand that buying these products will be really more money in Russia's pocket, but all of this and how far everyone is going, especially even Democrats and people on the left, it seems a bit extreme. I think that in some ways there is a lot of extremism in some of the things that they're doing, but I'm just looking at this and the hypocrisy that they have, because the things that they're mentioning are similar in some ways, maybe further, but similar to the proposals that we've made as conservatives in the past. Yet we have been criticized for a lot of these things. We've been very highly criticized for the things that we've proposed in the past that are very similar to what they're proposing now. Thinking back to the Wuhan lab and the virus that came out of the Wuhan lab. I hope that I don't get banned for that. But it's that's something that we would have been criticized for saying that we need to cutting off ties to TikTok. We would have been criticized for that, for trying to cut ties with China. We try to please China in so many different ways. We try to please all of these different nations and all of these different markets for such different reasons, and it's just crazy to see this hypocrisy. And again, like I said, I don't completely disagree with Swalwell and some of the things that he brings out. Some of the things that he mentions are valid points, and again, I think it stems from a reasonable origin. But it's just a bit hypocritical coming from a man again who had close relations and sexual relations sleeping with a Chinese spy. We should also throw out Swalwell and deport him, throw him into prison, make sure that he never sees daylight again. He should not be representative of California, of any part of the United States ever again. This man and it was involved with a Chinese spy, and this is something that has been proven. This is not a any sort of conspiracy. This is something that is absolutely proven. Eric Swalwell slept and had close relations with a Chinese spy. Yet this man wants to be hypocritical in trying to get rid of Russians because they might have something in on all of this invasion in Russia to expel and deport Russian students. Yet this man slept with a Chinese spy and had close relations. Who knows what all information she gathered from being that close to a representative of the United States? Yet we should listen to this man and this man's hypocrisy. That's all that we've got for today. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. God bless. Oh, hey there. You're still here. Okay, well, if you made it this far, you might as well just go ahead and hit that share button. Go ahead and share this episode on social media with your friends, your family, whomever you think wants to hear this episode. Just go ahead and share it. It's a great way to help us. You can also help support Politically Insane by going over to Apple Podcast or Spotify and giving us a 5-star rating. It's a great way to get us up towards the top of the charts. And you can go over to politicallyinsane.us/shop, and you can find all of our merchandise in the store there. Go check it out. We've got a lot of cool things, lots of tumblers and mugs and t-shirts, and it will be constantly growing. So you can support us there and also rep Politically Insane. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for all of our updates, and go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rumble channel, wherever it is that you are watching right now. Or if you're just listening, do whatever it is that you're supposed to do on the podcast platforms. Anyways, we thank you so much for watching, for listening, for supporting Politically Insane. God bless.